Have you ever felt like you're just too hungry to lose weight? Like no matter how much you try to eat less, your body is fighting back? Today, I'm going to show you exactly why that happens and how you can completely change your experience of hunger. So let's talk about why hunger feels like a real problem for weight loss and how we can make that go away. We're actually experiencing an unusual kind of hunger these days, and we can completely escape that situation for good. So by the end of this video, I'm going to give you insights into the real problem behind feeling too hungry and a simple, easy way to make the problem of excess hunger go away completely. And first, I want to make sure that you know what hunger is. How many times have we sat and really thought about what hunger is? And I want you to understand why it can really take a hold of us and how we can misinterpret it, and how to get your wise brain in charge of the situation of what you're eating and how much you're eating and when you're eating instead of your monkey brain. And at the end, I'll explain a simple, easy way to make that excess hunger go away. So first, let's understand our hunger so we can take charge of our hunger. So we perceive hunger. It starts with a physical sensation, but that's not the whole story. What have you experienced about your feelings of hunger that you find interesting? Where do you feel hunger in your body? Is it in your stomach usually? Do you get lightheaded? Do you get a change in energy levels and just feel sluggish? Do you get a change in your mood and get irritable? We have these systems that tell us we're hungry for important reasons for our survival, right? If humans never got uncomfortable sensations of hunger, we might not be motivated enough to take the trouble to eat. Some of what's going on inside our body that makes us have the sensations that we consider to be hunger relates to blood sugar levels and relates to hormone levels. There's a few hormones that are particularly important for our feelings of hunger, and those include ghrelin, which is a hormone that tells us we're hungry. It includes leptin, which is a hormone that tells us you had enough to eat, now go do something. And then there's insulin. We've all heard of insulin, and that drives fat storage when it's functioning in certain ways. So we get these perceptions of hunger that are partly driven by these real things, these hormone systems in our body, but our perceptions can be wrong. Have you ever noticed you felt hungry, but you stopped and realized, actually, I think I'm mostly just bored, or I think maybe I'm thirsty, or I'm tired. So some sensations we've interpreted as hungry were actually thirst or boredom or stress. Perceptions can be wrong. So perceptions come from having a bodily sensation and then an interpretation concluding, oh, this is what I think this means, right? So if you find yourself jumping from sensation to behavior in a millisecond, like I felt hungry and I was eating, I went and got food right away. We skipped a bunch of steps there, and this is an opportunity for us. We can slow down and think about what's happening. So our brains interpret what's coming in through our senses very rapidly, and our interpretation isn't always right. Our perceptions are shaped by prior experiences. That looks like, that sounds like, that feels like. Like if you ever saw somebody from behind and said, oh, that's my friend, I'm going to go right over there, and gotten over there and gone, no, that isn't my friend. That was a misperception. Optical illusions give us all these opportunities to see how we can misperceive what we're seeing, right? So perception isn't reality. And hunger, like other perceptions, can be misinterpreted. I always think about when I went to Denver to interview for graduate school. And Denver is a mile high in elevation. And I was coming from sea level, and I'd never been at that kind of elevation. And I found myself just eating and eating and eating and eating, like I just couldn't get satisfied. And I thought, what is this? Why am I so hungry? I shouldn't be so hungry. And I stopped and paid attention, and I realized, well, I'm getting lightheaded. I'm thinking that means I'm hungry, but maybe that's not what it means. And I talked to somebody and they said, yeah, no, just drink water. It's a matter of not getting as much oxygen to your brain as you were used to. You just need some water. So that's just one example of how we can misinterpret hunger. And if you're finding hunger is becoming a problem for you, it could be worth slowing down a little bit. Instead of from feeling the sensation to reaching for food, slow it down to take at least a few seconds to check in and say, am I really hungry? So let's think about what influences our perception that we're hungry. Like we learn to interpret certain sensations, certain feelings in our body as hunger. How might you have learned to interpret those sensations that way? My learning that lightheadedness meant I'm hungry started in adolescence when I was going through the changes of puberty and I was getting dizzy and faint a lot, right? That actually was really probably related to what was going on with my hormones. But I started developing a panic kind of feeling about getting lightheaded. And I always interpreted it to mean I need food. I think a doctor helped me think I needed food. I have had clients who have told me anytime they felt upset or unhappy about anything, some adult who loved them put food in their mouth or gave them food right away and kind of trained them. Anytime you're upset, food will solve this, right? So think about how you learned to interpret certain sensations as hunger and just back away from that learning a little bit and get more curious, get more aware, get more thoughtful about your conclusions there. So there's our learning and conditioning that way. And there's also environmental cues, right? You ever walk by a bakery and suddenly feel like you're starving, even if you just ate? Your brain being hijacked by those external cues. And research shows this happens to us all the time. If we see images of food, if we smell food, it triggers us to want food. It triggers us to have cravings. Remember in Psych 101 studying about Pavlov's dog? And the dog started salivating when it would hear a bell because the bell had been paired with getting food. And the body is actually getting ready to take food in. So environmental cues can really trigger us to feel hungry when we wouldn't have otherwise. So recognize your conditioning, get more aware, question what's going on, slow down a little while and pay attention and question and become more aware. Do I actually feel hungry now, or am I misperceiving the situation? Am I being manipulated to eat more food, to eat more often than my body needs? So we can get wiser about whether we're actually really hungry or not. We can slow down. So when you're really trying to change habits, like quit mindless eating, quit emotional eating, trying to lose weight, slow things down, get curious about what you're even feeling. Get curious about what it means and really question your conclusions. And when you do this, you're engaging your wise brain. It really will help you put the wise brain more in charge of what you're eating. Questioning what's going on can let us choose what we want to do about it. It's important to understand uncomfortable sensations are not emergencies. We've sort of been trained in our culture. Anytime you're uncomfortable, eat something, drink something, or buy something, right? That is not serving us. That's serving people who are selling us stuff. It's not serving us, right? Uncomfortable sensations can be information. When it matters, just get out of the habit of jumping from there to a conclusion to action. One question that was really helpful to me, I'm feeling hungry. Well, did I have abundant, nutritious foods at the last meal? Yes, I did. In fact, I'm so committed to that. I make sure that I'm getting enough by weighing my food. It's around a pound of food I want to eat. I don't want to short myself because that will leave me hungry. So if I had abundant, nutritious foods at the last meal, I'm going to think maybe this isn't hunger. Maybe it's going to give me a little bit of appetite when it's time to eat again, but I don't think it needs to be something I have to do something about right now. So we talked about how we might misperceive hunger, but there's an even bigger problem. I really want you to know about it because there's a simple, direct way to solve it. So there's this new, disturbing kind of hunger that we're confronting in these times, caused by the way that we're eating. It's making us hungrier than we ought to be. So it can really help to be more thoughtful about whether we're really hungry or not. But for many of us, we really are more hungry than we ought to be, and we're more hungry more often than we ought to be. And this is the problem to solve. So we talked about how our environment is constantly putting out food images, conditioning us to eat too often. The way we're eating is also changing our hormones, right? So remember the hormones leptin and ghrelin and insulin that drive hunger and fat storage? These hormones are getting dysregulated in our food environment with excess food-like substances that are not nutritious. It makes our body say, wait, I thought you were giving me food, but I really didn't get any nutrition. Keep going, right? And the fact that we're eating inadequate, highly nutritious foods is causing real problems for these hormones. So people are developing leptin resistance. and insulin resistance. And this leads to feeling extra hungry, like we just can't get satisfied with our food. So because of the way we eat in these times, our body is extra hungry and it's storing excess fat, and it becomes quite a vicious cycle where we can never feel satisfied and we can never get the fat off, right? So scientists say it's like we have flipped on a fat switch in our body. So our body has this built-in survival mechanism. When it senses a scarcity of nutrients, it turns on the fat switch. And that makes us store excess fat. It makes us feel extra hungry. In a lot of cases, it drives up our blood sugar and it drives up our blood pressure. But the amazing thing is you can flip that switch off by nourishing your body properly. So part of how you can recognize the fat switch is turned on is if you're experiencing excess hunger or storing excess fat, or maybe having high blood pressure or high blood sugar or prediabetes. So the situation we're in is that we're eating plenty of food, but it's not nourishing enough. So we're undernourished. And this helps explain why weight loss diets focusing on eating less do not solve the problem. Does that make sense? We can return to balance in these hormones. There's a simple, easy way to make excess hunger go away, and it should be implied in everything that I'm saying, but I'm going to make it explicit. So first, we talk about getting more aware of our perception of hunger, slowing down, getting the chance to choose, getting our wise brain involved. But if you're experiencing excessive hunger, take it as a sign that things aren't working right in your body in terms of these hormones. So to solve this and make that excessive hunger go away, the solution is to eat in a way that gets those hormones functioning in a balanced way again. We solve the problem by turning off the fat switch. And the way we do this is by eating real, highly nutritious foods in abundance. Now, it's really important to learn what nutritious foods really are, because we're pretty confused about this. I don't mean boxed or bagged, quick food-like substances that have marketing on the package that say they have antioxidants or vitamins or they're healthy alternatives that we hope are good enough, right? I mean eating real, whole, unequivocally nutritious foods and eating them in abundance meal after meal. Because when we do that, the body knows it doesn't have to turn on the fat switch. It doesn't have to get us to eat more, and it doesn't have to store excess fat anymore. I call this SimplyWise Eating. Eating regular nutrient-dense meals without snacking or eating or drinking things that spike our blood sugar too high, we find we steadily lose the excess weight without feeling hungry. And many women find that within just a few days of eating in this SimplyWise way, their hunger calms down. They start losing weight. They're not battling cravings anymore, and they're not feeling that insatiable hunger. They're just feeling real satisfaction. And it tends to be a calm kind of pleasure, like, I just feel good. They look more alive. That's what I see through the screen when I meet with them. So can you hear how this is a completely different approach from weight loss dieting? So to wrap up, first, take to heart, hunger is not an emergency. It's information. Just slow down and engage your wise brain. Get off autopilot so you can choose how you want to eat. Insert a pause and observe your hunger without treating it like it's a problem. You don't have to rush to solve this. Maybe you just need a glass of water or a nap or a hug, right? But if you're feeling extra hungry, focus on fixing the core problem of being undernourished. Start eating more nutrient-dense foods, maybe a lot more. Focus on eating to make your body really happy and satisfied. Eating can become so much more joyful when we're not struggling with that insatiable hunger. I can't wait for you to discover this. So if you're tired of feeling like your body is working against you and you're done with diets that leave you starving and frustrated, let's fix this for good. I put a link to book a call with me in the description below, the Midlife Metabolism Reset call. I'd love to talk with you. I'll help you take the guesswork out and finally feel at home in your body again. All right.